Christ is risen. Father Andrew here with an update on services at St. Nicholas now that the state of Indiana has initiated its Back on Track program. We are able to add some people to our services, so I did want to just give you a little video to update you on what that's going to look like in the upcoming weeks, because it will be a gradual rollout of adding people. Now, in addition to the state, the OCA Holy Synod of Bishops has also issued guidelines, and our own Archbishop Alexander has issued guidelines for our diocese based on the Holy Synod's guidelines. And the maximum that we can allow into the church to keep everybody at a safe 6-foot distance is 20 households. Whether that's a single person in that household or a family, it's 20, that's it, and you'll see why in a second. The diocese is allowing us to have 50% of the maximum that we can put in our church, keeping everybody at the safe social distancing protocol of 6 feet apart. So starting off, all we can do is 10. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but again, we have to exercise caution as we do this and as we unroll things. And also, it is going to be a lot more complicated. Just coming in the church and exiting the church is going to be much more complicated than we're used to. Now, I'll just let you know right now, for the next 2 Sundays, May the 10th and May the 17th, the only people who will be coming to services are the members of the parish council and their families. This is the group we're going to start with to just be able to exercise some of these protocols, see what they work like, work out the bugs, so that when we start opening up to more people, that we'll be ready for it. Now, on May 24th, we will start a roster system for people coming to church. So you still will not be able to come to church every Sunday, but you'll be assigned a specific date on the roster, and that's the date that you can come to church. The other thing we're going to do after May 24th is add more liturgies to the week. When the state opens up social gatherings to 100 people minimum, we then can petition the diocese to be able to open our church up to the full 20 people that we can keep at social distancing. So that'll double the amount of families that can come to church. But again, it's still just going to be on a roster. Another important part of helping to limit the infection rate in our communities is what are known as PPEs, personal protective equipment, specifically face masks. The bishop is not mandating face masks. If he says if the government's not mandating it, then he's not mandating it. They are optional in the state of Indiana. They'll be optional in church. You can wear them if you want. You can come to church wearing a mask, that's fine. But if you choose not to, you don't have to. A third area that we talk about are vulnerable populations. This is people who are 65 and older and people with underlying medical conditions, heart conditions, lung conditions, diabetes. Archbishop Alexander has said that for people 65 and older, if you are otherwise healthy, you may come to church if you choose. If you are not healthy, if you are sick, if you have been infected with COVID-19, if you have a serious health condition, you need to stay home because, again, the risks of complications from an infection are just too high. But if you're healthy, you can come to church. The first thing you'll notice when you come in the building are these X's on the floor. When you walk in the building, if there is a family in front of you, you need to stand on the X that you're standing at until that family moves forward. Then you can move forward as well. Ushers are going to play a very important part in the service at this time. It's going to be more than just greeting you. You'll come into the church, you'll see that there's an X by the greeter's stand. They'll greet you. They're going to give you some hand sanitizer to put on, so you'll be sanitizing your hands. Now, if you would like to light a candle, ask the usher, and the usher will give you the candles. If you want 5, you get 5. 2, you get 2. That's all fine, but the ushers will give you the candles. You can't take them yourself. The other thing is offering envelopes. Again, there are none available here. If you'd like one, ask the ushers, and they will give you one. You'll note this sign at all the icons. Please do not touch or venerate any icons until further notice. All of our blessings, all of our venerating is going to be contactless. So you simply cross yourself, bow your head, and that's the way we're going to be venerating icons for the next little while. Now, when you walk in church, this is what you're going to see. much of the nave is taped off. These are areas you cannot go. The only place you can sit are areas that have these blue tapes marked on them. Now, when you come in the church, the ushers will take you to one of these areas. One of these areas can comfortably fit 3, probably a family of 4 with small children. If you have a larger family, then we do have 2 areas in the back, over here and on this side, and where you can use the last 2 pews to accommodate a larger family. So we'll have 4 spaces like that. Also, if you're in a wheelchair, there will also be this space over here instead of the pew up here. So we'll accommodate you, but just so you know, you can't just walk in and sit anywhere. I'm afraid if you have a regular space, it might not be available now. All the places that are taped off, this allows for 6 feet of distance to the left, to the right, and to the front and to the back of you. And so before you come in, the usher will take you and you'll be seated at one of these spaces marked with a piece of blue tape. And when the service is over, there's no kissing the cross. There'll be no giving bread out either. You'll simply exit the church. However, you'll have to stay seated, and the ushers will let you know when you and your family can exit the church. A couple of other things you need to know. For the time being, the choir loft is closed. So if you're used to being up in the choir loft for liturgy, I'm afraid you're not going to be able to do that for a while. The fellowship hall is going to be locked during services. We are not going to be doing coffee hours. There is really no reason to be in the fellowship hall. This just helps us afterwards. Any place that we have people, we have to clean. And so this just makes it much easier in terms of disinfecting areas and just limiting the amount of cleaning that we have to do. The nursery is also going to be closed to everybody but nursing moms. And moms, you can only be in there 1 at a time. We cannot have any more than that. No children are going to be allowed in there. And we know that's difficult, but again, it's about limiting the amount of exposure, the amount of touching objects, the amount of things that we have to clean in the service as well. If you're a nursing mom and want to use the nursery, just talk to one of the ushers and they will let you in. As you can see, this is all pretty complicated, and I didn't even talk about communion. That's got its own set of complications. But this is what we need to do in order to open our church to at least have some people on Sundays. It's going to take time and it's going to take patience. And as I say, the procedures we have in place, it's going to take us a couple of Sundays to kind of work out the bugs. And so that's why we're starting the 10th and the 17th, just with the members of the parish council. I do look forward to seeing you in church. And as I say, on the 24th, we'll start the roster. It's probably going to take another week yet before we work out exactly what that's going to look like and how we're going to have people coming to church. But you will be contacted with that information, I'm hoping by the end of next week, so that by the 24th, we're starting to bring people back. Again, it's only 10 at a time, 10 households at a time, but it's a start, and at least it's something. It's certainly better than just locking the doors and not having everybody here. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always send me a message and let me know, and I will do what I can to respond to those. Thanks for watching, and until we can see you in church, take care, and God bless.